Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Live television. Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday. It is February 27th.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. It is really cold out there. Yesterday we had the wind to deal with. Today, not as much wind, but the temperature is definitely cold.
So below freezing out at San Antonio International at last check. And the hill country, hold on to your hats and bundle up.
Even northern Bexar County.
Yeah?
I mean, we're looking at 20s, low 20s around a good chunk of the area. It's going to be a fantastic sunrise. No little glow of the sunrise as of yet. And we are now back down to 30 degrees. The hourly readings 20 in Bulverde, 20 in Tarpley, 26 Randolph, 27 in New Braunfels. Everybody is just really, really darn cold out there. And then, even though there's not much wind, there's enough of it, so it feels like 23 here in town. 17 is the wind chill right now at Randolph, 16 in Hondo. Needless to say, bundle up. Nice big bowl of oatmeal is going to taste really good this morning. Just get a little hot fuel in the furnace there. Everything's on the low side as far as the allergens are concerned. And temperatures, we may drop down a couple of notches in the next few hours when all the official numbers come out. And then nice big warm up throughout the day, but that's kind of relative because when we have such a cold start, we're not going to get that warm today. 52 at noon, and we will continue up into the about upper 50s, so just a little bit above yesterday, but still almost 10 degrees below normal. Plenty of sunshine, a spectacular looking day. Tomorrow's going to be another fantastic day. Cold in the morning, not quite as cold, and then even warmer in the afternoon. Then we begin the warming process going into the weekend. Maybe a little bit of rain way down the road. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. And Officer Nick Solis, you've had a fairly quiet morning, and looking at the map, looks pretty quiet still.
Yeah, still real quiet out there. Nothing going on, so that's always good news, huh, Mike?
Yep.
Well, right now things are looking clear all around the city. If you are on the way to work, expect a smooth commute because there are no accidents out there right now. Let's take a look at some drive times. If you're on 1604 eastbound from US 281 at 35, 9 minutes. And if you're on 1604 westbound from I-35 to US 281, 8 minutes. Great times there. Expect smooth drive to work. All right, 37 in Houston, bye. 410 in Callahan Road looking great. 1604 in Valley Meadow looking great. And 281 in Hildebrand, traffic's looking very light right now. So I hope you're having a great start to your Thursday morning and you have an even better day. Mark, Leslie, back to you.
Thank you, Nick. See in a bit, a taqueria behind Hills and Dale's Ice House on the northwest side is closed until it is deemed safe. A fire broke out at the Mexican restaurant last night located at 1604 and Babcock, not far from UTSA. Our Sarah Costa is at the restaurant and shows us the damage.
Good morning, and most of that fire contained the back part of this refrigeration structure. I'm going to step out so you can see it, where you see all that charred and water damage through the insulation and some debris on the ground. Now, fire crews responding to this call around 9:40 last night. Firefighters with the San Antonio Fire Department say they arrived to heavy flames coming from an add-on refrigeration structure for the restaurant. Crews were able to stop the fire at that add-on structure from spreading into the main building. At this time, there is not a damage estimate, and the cause of the fire is unknown. That is why arson will be out here investigating for that cause. As for if this restaurant will be open for breakfast, lunch, or dinner or any time today, that is unknown at this time because the food inspector must come out and deem the restaurant safe before it can open. From the northwest side, I'm Sarah Acosta, Ksat 12 News.
Also new this morning, one man is in custody after he got into a car crash with an off-duty police officer. A police sergeant says a drunk driver crashed his car, into two vehicles. This is at I-10 and I-35. The driver then drove off onto the street below. EMS checked the off-duty officer at the scene. He was only treated for minor injuries. He did not have to go to the hospital. Meanwhile, police arrested the driver, where he now faces DWI charges.
The only person involved in a drunk driving wreck that was not drinking one August night was killed. Mario Velasquez was the designated driver as he and four friends were leaving a Northwest Side bar when they were broadsided by an SUV. Its driver, Rosalinda Olalde, is on trial facing intoxication manslaughter and intoxication assault charges. Our Paul Venema was in court as the survivors of the crash shared their story with the jury.
This is how a night out ended for the people in that white sedan. It began with visits to a couple of bars.
I remember we were all just talking, We were laughing, listening to the music.
As they pulled from a parking lot to exit onto Loop 1604, their car was struck broadside by an SUV driven by 24-year-old Rosalinda Olalde. She's on trial accused of driving drunk. Her SUV veered from the access road onto the sidewalk, striking the car in which Murillo was a passenger. 22-year-old Mario Velasquez, the designated driver, was killed in the crash.
I remember waking up and I was sitting right here on the side, like in the ditch.
Murillo and Luis Aguilar, who was a front seat passenger in the car, were both injured in the crash.
I just feel like a huge impact. And then I feel myself, I guess, going out of consciousness, but still conscious. And then the rest, I remember just waking up.
He managed to get to the car and check on Velasquez.
Something in me, I just knew he wasn't there.
Paramedics tried to revive Velasquez.
We decided to continue with the CPR and try to hopefully stabilize him and prevent him from going into full cardiac arrest.
Crew check said they continued those life-saving efforts for nearly half an hour, but just after 2:30 that morning, Velasquez was pronounced dead at the scene. For Good Morning San Antonio, I'm Paul Venema.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says a case of the coronavirus in California could be the first in the U.S. with no connection to traveling abroad or a known connection to another known case. The CDC says it could show that the virus is spreading in a community near Sacramento. Meanwhile, the U.S. and South Korea are postponing their annual joint military drills. That's amid concerns the virus is spreading. Around the world, the death toll in Iran increased to 22 people with 141 cases. A case has been confirmed in Brazil. And Saudi Arabia is preventing Muslims from making the holy pilgrimage to Mecca during the outbreak in the Middle East. In our next half hour, we'll see how President Donald Trump and other lawmakers are responding to increasing concerns about the coronavirus.
Hey, right now on Ksat.com, you can track the spread of the coronavirus in real time. Johns Hopkins University's Center for Systems Science and Engineering created a map that provides the most accurate international tracking of the outbreak of the virus. You can see the confirmed cases around the world, including right here in San Antonio on Ksat.com.
A Wisconsin community is in mourning today after a man killed 5 people in the latest mass shooting in America. CNN's Camilla Bernal has more from Milwaukee, where authorities are trying to piece together exactly why this happened.
Active shooter, reports of one person shot at Miller Coors.
An armed employee storming a Milwaukee brewing complex Wednesday, gunning down 5 people.
We have located 5 additional deceased adult victims. The victims all worked at Molson Coors.
Police say the 51-year-old man eventually turned the gun on himself.
5 families, 6 families actually, are grieving and will be grieving because of this horrific act of this individual.
More than 1,000 employees were working on the sprawling campus when they began receiving text and email alerts about an active shooter.
Find a safe place, active shooter on campus. Police are on scene, remain on lockdown.
Dispatch from one fire engine call the scene a war zone.
Hold all companies. They do not have the shooter down. It is an additional victim.
The names of the victims have not been released, nor has the motive of the shooter.
We're here on the scene of another American tragedy, another senseless American tragedy. And I hate to say that it's in our backyard once again. This is the 11th mass shooting in our state since 2004.
In Milwaukee, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Representatives for former President Barack Obama are demanding a Republican super PAC stop airing an ad that quotes the former president. The commercial in question uses Obama's words to imply that former Vice President Joe Biden supports, quote, plantation politics. President Obama's lawyers say the quote comes from an audiobook and the statement was made by a barber in a completely different context more than 20 years ago. They sent a cease and desist letter demanding a group called the Committee to Defend the President stops airing the ad across the state of South Carolina.
Your time now is exactly 10 minutes after 6. Temperatures are very cold, 30 degrees.